Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. My name is Tim Floyd. I am a longtime swim and triathlon coach, and today we're going to be looking at a pro triathlete that we had coming to town before Ironman, Texas. She wanted to take a look at her stroke and just see some of the things where she could kind of maybe pick up some speed, pick up some efficiency, and what she should work on for the next few months as she tries to kind of tackle Ironman a little bit more. She's been mostly a 70.3 athlete. This Ironman Texas actually was her first full, and she wrote me after and she said that she had a lot to learn and was raring to go for the next one. So I think she had some nutrition issues on the bike, and she's a very, very strong runner and cyclist. So it's actually Danielle Lewis, and so here was the initial video when we first started out. And I'll just let it play, and you guys can watch it from all the different angles that we filmed it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll back it up, and we'll kind of take a look at what was going on and kind of what we worked on. Okay, so here we go. So you can see here, it's not as fluid as you'd like to see. There's that kind of, the stroke speeds up and kind of slows down. So it's not this continuous kind of fluid movement. And that's not unusual. I see this a lot with triathletes, and particularly pro triathletes. And a lot of it, you'll be able to see it more from the overhead. But it has to do with kind of the hips being pretty tight. And see how the shoulders are rotating more than the hips? They're connected, but the hips kind of get stuck. And don't go with the shoulders as readily as they should. And then you can see here, she's dropping her elbow a little bit. So, that's the angle on the water right there. So, it's press, 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 and then doesn't really start pulling herself forward till right about there. She's got, this is, kind of what we're kind of dealing with. So that needs to be up a little bit. And then it would be better if the feet were up a little bit too. Okay, so here you're going to be able to see kind of how the hips don't go quite as much with the shoulders as they need to. They're not as connected as they can be. The big thing here that we wanted to work on was this right there. So you can see that she's pretty far outside her shoulder on that entry. And with her, we'd want to get it more kind of basically in line with the shoulders. So she's entering right about there. And then the same thing on the right side. The right, if I remember right, looks pretty good. That's pretty good. But you can see kind of right here, she's got this kind of bend in her stroke. So there's not as much connection through the core between the core and the lower body, and then the core and the upper body, which then would kind of connect the whole thing together. So we'd see a lot more kind of rigidity in the water. But she's a really good athlete, so it's just going to be kind of a continued just kind of practice with a lot of awareness on this. And you can see where the feet come apart a little bit. That's just to balance out for that, the breath and the wide pull. So here we are again. This is from the front. And here, and you'll be able to you'll get a better look at it underwater. But you can see kind of there's her hand right there. So kind of here's midline. So she's pretty far outside kind of midline on the pole. So really what she's doing, and we'll see a better shot of it underwater, is putting a lot of pressure on the top of her shoulder to pull. So the lat gets kind of taken out of the ability to lever the water. And she's just left with kind of that top part of the shoulder, kind of forearm, a little bit of the pec, some of the scapular muscles, but the big muscle, and here you can see it a little bit better. So you can see when she pulls, rotates through here, you know, she's outside of her body frame even on that pull. So we'd really like to see it just a little bit more kind of where this is like this, and then this is more like that. And then with the fingertips pointed down. Then she's going to get that lat's going to engage a little bit better, a little bit more readily, and be able to get a little bit more power on the water. Some of that, though, is the rotation is caused by that kind of lack of rotation in the hips, or the not totally connected to the hips. Sorry, the allergens have been kind of bad today. So with her, we started out with, where we start out with a lot of triathletes, which is with this PVC pipe drill, just trying to get a better reference point for where everything is. And you can see we went through a few rounds of this, so this was probably the initial one, and then here it was without. And so you can see we brought it in fairly significantly compared to where she was. And, everything is kind of moving a lot more straightforward. You can see right there. Everything is kind of moving straightforward. Legs are a lot straighter. And she's not kind of compensating for what was going on. So here was the next thing that we kind of worked on, was we were trying to get more of that high elbow catch in the front of the stroke. So what I did was we took some of the Aquavolo Volo blades, which is that it's basically a mid-palm paddle, and then the drag socks. And so the mid-palm paddle, what it does is it kind of forces you to roll over a little bit more. The stroke, the hand gets into that high elbow catch position a little bit more readily, a little bit easier. And then when you combine it with those drag socks, that drag from the back is really going to engage the core. So everything's going to have to be a lot more connected. And then it forces you into that high elbow catch position. So we really kind of force that high elbow catch position from a number of different directions on the body, while forcing the body to engage a lot more, the brain and the body. So you can see, she gets into that high elbow catch position, especially on the left side. So here we go. Elbow's still dropped a little bit, but you can see she's starting to pull herself forward a lot sooner. And we did a few rounds of this, and then there was we did some more work with some of the sensory mitts, just to give her a little bit more feel for the stroke and the pressure on her hands, so that by the time we finally get to the last video, you can see that she's got a lot more power on the water and starting to really kind of grab the water, and everything starts to look a lot more fluid. It's not as clunky. Still need to work on the hips a little bit, but that's going to be more of a long-term project. And yeah, so she, I think she went 105 at Ironman, Texas. And, she knows she's got a lot of room for improvement, and I have no doubt that she's going to get there. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe down below. You can find more information about us at swimeasyspeed.com. or follow us on Instagram at swimeasyspeed. So thanks again for tuning in, and until the next one.